Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about the September 2024 Comprehensive Astrology. In this video, I will be delivering some intuitive insights about the month ahead, as well as looking at the astrology charts and talking about some of the astrology transits and general insights that I'm getting about the month ahead. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to September. I feel quite a bit of relief about August being over with. I imagine that many of you are as well. Hit the like button below if you're excited for this final quarter of 2024, as I will be myself posting a lot of new content on my YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe as well and turn on the bell notifications because we have a lot of different kind of content coming up for the rest of this year, and I'm really excited to introduce it to you all. But yes, let's talk about September and get out of August. As I was saying over on my Patreon page, which is linked below, I am so excited for this change of time. And I'm okay that August is over with. And, you know, maybe August will not be returning until 2025. And I'm definitely myself quite fine with that. Anyway, here we go into September, one of my favorite months of the year. And let's talk about what is happening here. Okay, so first of all, some type of distance has been covered. You can refer back to my Dragon 2024 video, which I will link below, to understand about the timelines that the 2024 year cycle is taking us through. And by September 2024, some type of distance has been covered. We have maybe had a shift in location or some kind of major personal spiritual shift. And in some ways, there should be peace and relief tied to it. Maybe things aren't perfect yet, but one of the main elements of September is that, wow, look at the relief you have put into your life. Look at the time, money, and energy you have freed up. Look at, while things are not perfect, look at all of the ways that you could kind of move the right direction now. Virgo season of 2024 is one of the most powerful Virgo seasons that I've seen in a long time, because we have grand Earth trines coming through. We have Pluto at the anaretic degree of Capricorn. We have Uranus late in Taurus, and we have a lot of personal planets moving through Virgo, meaning that by the time we get later into Virgo, we will, yes, have grand Earth trines. We can get it right now. Okay, that's what that feels like to me. That feels like after an arduous time of challenges, trials, oppositions, adversity, we can get it right now. So this is kind of the powerful energy that I feel we can imbue during September, and it may be, for some of us, the first time in our lives, okay, that we've been able to hold this kind of vision and this kind of commitment to how we've needed to move forward for a long time. Don't underestimate this here. What would be easy during this time as well, coming after August 2024 with the chaotic Mercury retrograde in Virgo, what could be easy here would just be like, you know what, I have all of the loops already in my life. I have my job, I have my family, I have my obligations and commitments, and I'm just going to keep doing this in the same way over and over again. And, you know, here we have sort of like a pathway to increasing the amount of like addictive energy in our life, or the difficulties in general. I'm not saying that in September you need to abandon your routines. Quite the opposite. A good routine here is the cornerstone, or I would even call it the core of expanding now. But it's a different routine. It's an adapted routine. We had this very like pivotal, mutable T-square in August, which forced an adaptation. It forced us to start thinking differently about things. And in some cases, it made us rely on our own ability to adapt to step into this new freed up space now. So the key moving into September to sort of being, I don't know, sane and capable of directing energy on the most important line is Pluto back at 29 Capricorn for the final time. It would have us understanding the entire 15 or 16 year story that we've been in since 2008. It would have us also really needing to integrate what we discovered in 2020 and 2022. which were the previous times that Pluto was in Capricorn, it would have us staring straight down that path with perhaps a lot more resources at our disposal, perhaps a lot more confidence in our own capacity, and also just maybe more wisdom and more age, more maturity could be really nice here. I'm seeing that these grand earth trines that we have coming in September are the positive of maturity. They're the positive of getting older. It's like all this time you've put into the industry, or all of this time you've put into thinking or shadow work or integrating your past becomes almost like a superpower. Okay. So integration, this started to come up to me in August as well, quite strongly, where as we sort of got out of certain difficult loops, it started to bring up to the surface previous points of pain and shadow that we hadn't integrated before. These unintegrated, fragmented shadows became an anomaly of sorts that we had to face directly. And that might also still be continuing forward in September of 2024. Now we have to do it justice, okay? Because we have a life-changing energy coming up in later September and through October and November, and honestly all the way through the calendar new year of 2025. Why is it life-changing? We have a Sun application to South Node. Sun will conjunct South Node, and it's going to be in the sign of Libra, and it's going to also form up a future cardinal cross, which will be life-changing direct masculine events that cause us to maybe make a lot of executive decisions and changes in our lives. So that is not maybe here in September. That will be, if it is September, it would be like the last few days of it, or really more so moving into October. But that puts a lot of perspective on the month of September as a really vital time of resolving anomalies, resolving a lot of complex moving parts, and also the sobriety, rest, personal discipline, and personal strength it takes to really do that in a sober way. So that's what I want you guys to know about September right off the bat, is we are moving toward a time that requires a lot of executive decision making. It's going to require also a lot of maturity and like emotional maturity and strength. Like we have Mars moving into Cancer this month as well. So that's going to be like really testing for people. Can you go through this without an emotional outburst? Can you not get into that 9 of Swords territory where like something difficult is keeping you up all night and you can't sleep and you're not like, being your best self or putting your best foot forward. Also, if we're still struggling with things like that here, there would be a pathway to healing that, like bad insomnia or racing mind or any of those kinds of things, which I feel are beginning to dissipate through these integration cycles and anomaly resolutions. There is a disintegration of these previous, basically symptoms of fragmentation or symptoms of maybe too much of an inward facing equation as well. So like eventually we're going to start facing outward more, or the face is going to be put out more rather than in. So we're getting more toward an outward energy, but no, there is definitely an inward story in especially Virgo season, as again we're in that major yin overabundance again, where yes, we will have all of the outer planets in dark feminine yin signs, and really all that we have is Jupiter and Gemini offsetting that, and then the moon of course, and Mercury as well will be too, but all the rest of the planets will be in feminine signs. So that is highly imbalanced. And what the tendency with that will be, it will be kind of nocturnal. It will be kind of silent at times. Some people will not voice their actual concerns. They will keep it inside. Some people also will begin to close up. So like doors can be closed or locked, or people will want to be indoors more. People will want to kind of be in a safe sort of private experience, which is also going to be compounded by Pluto being at the final degree of Capricorn, which is where it was during 2020. So there could be also a similar type of equation. Not exactly the same, but it could just be almost like a repetitive paradigm through personal conditioning or through sort of need to protect the nervous system or to protect certain vulnerable points. Basically, people are not going to take the big chance here. People are not going to do, I think, a gamble, and they're not going to put themselves out there without the appropriate foundation, security, funding, etc. So I would not see such a speculative time here. If there's anything in you that feels speculative, like you want to make a risky investment or you want to maybe spend just a little bit more than you think you can through borrowing or through debts or through something that is not yet here, trying to spend from the future, I just probably wouldn't recommend it unless it's so well planned. Because on one hand, there's not really that masculine confidence to like stretch out a new or push out onto a new unforeseen frontier. However, the grand earth trines are wanting to create a foundation that will last a long time. So there's kind of, I mean, in a way, I really like it, but in a way, for a lot of people, I'm not liking it right now, the way the energy generally is, because it really is demanding some type of sizable investment. Like, yeah, we need the house that will last the next 30 years, or we need some type of baseline foundation that lasts a long time, which takes a lot of purchasing power, and it takes either a lot of purchasing power or the right relationships or the right footing or the right just general decisions over probably all of Pluto and Capricorn. It is a time that's harder for people who are, not past the second Saturn return. So people who are 60 years and younger might just have a bit of a harder time during this time, or people who are like not born into like vast generational wealth could struggle here as well. Basically people who have not been with years and years, decades and decades of constant revenue generation, constant expansion of territory, constant material, even slow material gain over, 40 years plus. People who are not in that category will naturally have a more difficult time here. But what they can do is they can, and what they probably will do, is they're going to start creating their own new innovations, and they're going to stop participating so much with these longer running material structures. So this could create a sort of like recession type of energy where even though some people have a lot, it's becoming less permeable to the younger generation. So there's a generational divide that I see becoming more prolific during this time, but it can be positive, and it could also cut corners as well. So people could start some type of technique of building houses here that the houses themselves don't last as long, but they're cheaper. Okay, so like buying tiny homes on Amazon for like $10,000 or something. Stuff like that could come up here, and these types of industries could maybe take off. But I would definitely maybe not advise participating with that either. And basically you could apply that to a lot of areas where people are going to start trying to like bring about their dreams in the cheapest way possible or in the only way possible in some cases for them, which could cause like desperation. It could also cause a decline of resilience or a decline of lasting power as well. So we're wanting to kind of like innovate a new middle path where we don't sacrifice the lasting quality of what we create, but we also are actually able to get there because things are like not priced at a level perhaps that make it impossible for 98% of people to even be there. So it's a crisis. There's certainly, as you can imagine, an economic crisis, but the main reason that I talk about this is the effect that it has on people's own feeling of personal capacity. When people feel like they can't access something, or they can't or never will be able to get into something, it can create a sort of dangerous, divisive place that I feel like is something we have to consider here as we make certain financial decisions, or as we make decisions also about like the careers that we have or the industries that we're in. Yeah, this is definitely a dialogue about the grand Earth trine coming in. It should be like that final week of Virgo season around September 15th through September 21st. There's going to be a lot of understanding for some people about what their possibility will be in their career, like what the glass ceiling is, also what their material future looks like, and through that, maybe a new executive decision that has to be made about how they move forward. As I'm also seeing some people aren't willing to work overtime anymore because it just can't ever really get something for them in the future. So I feel like, workers' rights, workers' strikes, unions, things like that will begin to take on a new type of relevance as people may rather be unemployed or may rather certainly not overwork themselves if there's nothing in it for them in the next 50 years. Okay. So that's kind of maybe a controversial statement, but I feel like it's something that people have been needing to say for a while. So there's also quite a negative feeling energy to this as well, where people will maybe not have as much structure in their life either because of this. So maybe, through working less, there can also create more time to just kind of be in silence, which can be very positive for some people, but it can also lead to a certain deconditioning, which could bring about an unexpected result for some people too. So watch out for deconditioning here, regardless of whether it's relating to work or not, as I feel like we might have to begin a new routine in Virgo. We might have to begin working muscles that we're not, like if we're working a desk job all day, or if we're not having to do any types of substantial labor, we may have to really begin at the gym or making sure that all of the muscles in our body are getting balance. So a balanced muscular system is a major difference moving forward from here, as it affects the chemicals in our body, it affects our brain chemistry, it affects everything. And I might prioritize that at the highest point here, along with a good budget. A good budget and a balanced muscular system is a very simple recipe for being in a top percentile of your own in 2024. Finally, before we get into the astrology, I think that there's an important question in September to ask: is your internal vision happening? As I feel that there has been a very profound vision, honestly, since the end of 2019, we've had major paradigm change on the physical since then. And now we would need to be asking ourselves quite firmly, is the vision coming out and materializing into real life or not? Do I want to keep it up inside? If it's not going to come outside, do I need to begin to manifest it externally? And then there's where all of those Libra season decisions are going to start coming in, as for some people, the answer will be yes. For some, it will be no. So anyway, let's move into the specific astrology. I'm putting the charts on the screen now. Okay, so yes, I feel that it's a good direction that we're on throughout the full picture of September. I'm feeling like we're entering the month with a lot of disruption and need for adaptation, adapting to a different kind of context. And I feel that we're leaving the month with a lot more structure. So it's a wonderful month to structure a new routine, to structure a new workout routine, diet, budget. That's always what Virgo is good for. And I feel like every year there's a need to rework that stuff, as there's always a little bit of a portal between August and September that changes certain economic issues and changes also our own preferences. So it's always important to act and make changes based on that. But yeah, I feel like a friend might be coming in for some people in September too. I like what I'm seeing as we get that Sun Mercury South node situation by the end of the month. That's good. That's good after what we've been through. We're going to get reconnected with our core values that never change. We're going to remember who we are. We're going to also remember the people who have helped us. And I feel that there's a nice little helping hand, or a nice reassurance maybe coming in by the end of September. It's very positive and light and kind feeling to me. But it's also a new world too. I realize that the current job that I have, or the current ideologies I've put onto why I have to work so hard, or why I have to suffer to make a living, are no longer relevant. So this can desaturate or destructure a lot of the previous things, but I feel like it's a relief for people in most cases, as they might also be bringing new people into their project or hiring new people. and then having to do less, but then, it has a ripple effect, but it's positive. So try to focus on matters like that. You all helping hands, friendship, being open to letting things like wash off the back. Okay, like if people are criticizing you or being unfair to you, try to just let it wash off the back. We have Mars in Cancer. That's a challenge for everyone, especially if it hits your chart. Okay, like people can be emotionally unstable here, volatile, and it will be retrograding later in this sign too, not in September, but that's something we're going to be dealing with for like the rest of this year and some of 2025 is a Mars retrograde, and it's debilitated sign of Cancer. Comment below if you would like me to make an individual video about that. But basically, also on Patreon, I've talked in Cancer's September 2024 reading for about 25 minutes about that. Okay, I've talked about Mars and Cancer, so it's already over there if you want to check that out and get some like damage control already going. If you know that you're like having some, emotional difficulties, or you have someone in your life who's pretty volatile, definitely go check that reading out, but comment below too if you would like an individual video. But basically, we have to let things move. Okay, we can't get too caught up on things. We can't dwell. We have to be careful about getting into Nine of Swords territory or losing sleep, insomnia, also being too inward about things, obsessing, also keeping an eye on impulsive or compulsive behaviors, negative emotional coping mechanisms. All of that will be in some ways purged through this Mars transit, because yes, it will be opposing Pluto in October, which is going to be obviously an accident indication, but for some people will be like a forced coming to terms or a forced purgative phase. And it's so good to go ahead and get ahead of this, you all. If you have anything in your life that like that's not going to end well, or like this addiction is not going to do well for me in the future, try to get ahead of it here, because what we can see is sort of like, we can see an emergent kind of purging process later. For some people, sort of like an emotional breakdown can be in the cards if they keep compounding problems, or if they keep arguing with people, or if they keep their mind and their vision on a compulsive emotional problem rather than the solution. So just basically everything compounds here. Everything pays dividends. Okay, if we're mad all the time about things, it's going to be more of that. If we're investing in the right place, it's going to be very profitable. If we're being kind and putting friendship and kindness ahead, that's going to pay us back. Okay, we get what we get a high return here. A high return of anything. High interest rates in general. Which I've heard that there's going to be a cutting of that. However, in general, I still feel that to be the case. It's like there will be a return. In some cases, also like foolish investments will lead to a negative return. So it's a high return. One way, it's like highly profitable or highly loss oriented. It's not, to me, feeling like just a plateau anymore. So that could really bring us to attention, couldn't it? Like if you feel like your business is starting to decline a little bit, now you might have to do some mitigation or damage control to see that it doesn't like crash, okay? Also with investments, not good to be in anything too speculative here. Anything in our life that's too speculative, keep it safe, keep it going, and you might have a very profitable return. But that will rely also on us being very good people, as I feel that karma is just very, very active here. And seriously, you guys, like things that have had like 10 plus year lack of karma could get all of that returned here. So it's very karmic, and it's good to put a good foot forward, and to also give people grace here, because some people will not be given grace here. So we don't want that to be us. So it's like good to not be the also bearer of consequences, or to be like vengeful or anything like that. Try to keep the hands kind of like up in some cases, and just focused on the next horizons is how I feel the best. The strongest, most strategic people are really just kind of calmly, peacefully seeing that next horizon and not needing to rush it, but not needing to also have a lot of painful exchanges with people in this time of stillness. It's a wonderful time to also be like the Sphinx here and learn new lessons and gain information and gain knowledge without having to like project so much. I'll also bring up to you guys matters of relationships, better to solve it early in September than later. We do have both of the love planets, both Venus and Mars, are debilitated by the end of September. So Mars in Cancer and Venus in Scorpio. Love relationship problems will come to a head and be totally like taken to the next level or resolved. Breakups, yes, definitely in the cards for some people. Definitely in the cards for some people. And then just every single relationship being challenged. So that's a good thing. Try to not let it be a bad thing. Like, challenges are what make us more precise in life. They're what straighten our paths out a little bit. Try to not resent the fact that there are challenges. Try to bring solutions. If the solutions are refuted or if they don't work, sometimes things have to part ways. Try to keep it this simple. You all try to not complicate things and start like bringing up the past and what everyone's done wrong. And, especially watch out for long text exchanges or email exchanges. We've got Jupiter in Gemini. Very chaotic right now for impulsive emails. Like, watch out for like sending people mean emails, okay, without thinking about it, because these things are permanent. And I don't know, it kind of feels like if you can't say anything nice, like what really is the point at this time? It's very simple stuff like that. But yeah, we have a very debilitated situation for love relationships. Wonderful time to be single. Wonderful time to have a long-running relationship that's already, overcome a bunch of challenges. However, not a wonderful time to have a relationship that's like been a problem for a long time and has been kind of like, things are never resolved. Things are never compromised. And like, here's the point where it just kind of like works itself out, I feel, for a lot of people. And we don't need to take it too personally here either. Like, it just is what it is at this point. But for those of you who are dating, it's actually not terrible for dating if we're like trying to learn more about ourselves or something, but maybe not the time to like start a new relationship either. It was quite nice actually over these last few months to meet people or to connect with relationships. But yes, now we are getting ourselves together for the rest of this year and for quite a few months of 2025 as well. And yes, the anaretic degree of Pluto in Capricorn is not really about romance or friendship or any of that stuff. It's really about very powerful stories of solitude in some cases. So yeah, that we're getting back into that paradigm, and that's mirrored also with the love planets too. I love how September starts out with a Moon-Mercury conjunction in Leo. After we came out of that Mercury retrograde in Virgo, the emotional, conscious, logical lines are going to line up. So we're going to be able to voice our emotions in a logical way. We're going to be able to also find logical solutions that don't frustrate us emotionally. That's a great foot to start September on. And then ending September with that Mercury Sun South Node conjunction in Libra. That's a very developed communication style with Jupiter in Gemini too. That's a very nice middle ground compromise that a lot of people can get to. And it's not extreme, okay? It's not polarized, it's balanced. And it is what a lot of us have needed. Also, the Saturn-Nessus conjunction is breaking up as Saturn retrogrades further back into Pisces, so I feel like that can take pressure off for some people. It's a great time for a break. It's a great time to kind of like get more precise and get your ideas and sort of like lifestyle questions sorted before things get super pressurized again. So I like that. I also like that Neptune has retrograded back out of the anaretic degree of Pisces. That was a lot, that Pluto-Neptune sextile in Pisces and Capricorn, that was getting very heavy. And I mean, it's still close, but it just feels like some of the pressure is breaking up if we can be emotionally responsible. Because yes, Mars in Cancer and Venus in Scorpio can both come in and really do some damage if people are too impulsive or too sharp or unkind, okay? So it's a great time to kindly take the pressure off, to keep purpose, but to alleviate pressure and to work through the themes of like connection, friendship, and grace, while not missing the gravitational and deep progression in a very, very important long-running path. So anyway, everyone, that's it for September. Definitely come check out the sign-by-sign forecast. It is available. You can get your reading ad-free, super high quality, super awesome readings for September. They are on Patreon. That is the first link in the description box. So come and check it out. I am preparing a wonderful, wonderful fourth quarter of 2024. Very, very important time in all of our developments. And Patreon will be a sort of first response system for all of the situations happening. So come and check it out. It's a great, valuable investment. And yes, all of the other links in the description box will be helpful as well. So definitely thumb through that. Thank you all so much for being here and enjoy your month of September 2024. Much love. Bye.